Welcome back to the channel, coin collectors and history lovers. Today, we are diving into the story of the 1960 and 1961 sixpence coins from the United Kingdom. These coins were part of the first portrait series of Queen Elizabeth II and remain highly collectible today. While most examples are still quite common, rare proof strikes, pristine uncirculated pieces and era coins can make these little treasures worth serious money. Stay tuned as we go through their history, design, and the surprising values these coins can reach. Let's get started. First up, the obverse design of the 1960 sixpence features the youthful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, who had just ascended the throne in 1952 after the death of her father, King George VI. The effigy on this coin is the first official portrait of the Queen, created by Mary Gilly, and it shows her wearing a laurel wreath, a classic style meant to symbolize peace and dignity surrounding the portrait. Is the inscription Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina, which translates to Elizabeth II by the grace of God, Queen. This portrait was used on British coinage from 1953 until 1967, making it instantly recognizable to collectors as part of Elizabeth II's early reign coinage. The reverse design of the 1960 sixpence is equally beautiful and symbolically created by heraldic artist William Gardner. It features a design of interwoven flowers representing the four nations of the United Kingdom: the Tudor rose for England, a thistle for Scotland, a shamrock for Ireland, and a leek for Wales. The inscription FID Def is short for Fide, Defensor or Defender of the Faith, one of the official titles of the monarch. Around the design we also see the denomination sixpence and the year 1960. The combination of floral emblems makes this coin stand out as not just currency but also a statement of unity among the countries of the UK. The sixpence coin in 1960 was struck in cupronickel, having transitioned away from sterling silver in 1947. This means it contains no silver content unlike earlier issues and is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. While the lack of precious metal might limit its intrinsic value, the coin retains great historic and collector appeal. The sixpence was a small denomination, but a very useful one. It was worth 1/40th of a pound sterling, equal to 2.5 new pence in today's decimal system. At the time, it was often used in everyday transactions, but it also carried cultural meaning, especially in weddings, where the phrase "something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue, and a sixpence in your shoe" became a traditional saying for good luck. In terms of mintage, millions of 1960 sixpence coins were produced for circulation by the Royal Mint, which means that this coin is not particularly rare in lower grades. However, its availability in uncirculated or mint state conditions is far more limited, and those coins are where collector interest and value really increases. The fact that this coin was in active circulation for over a decade before decimalization means that most examples today are well worn, making higher grade survivors more appealing to numismatists. Let's now break down its value according to the mint grading scale. In circulated grades such as fine or very fine, the 1960 sixpence is typically worth between 50 pence to £1, making it accessible to beginner collectors. In extremely fine condition, values rise to £2 to £4, while about uncirculated examples can fetch £5 to £8. Once we move into mint state coins, the value climbs much higher, and graded coin might sell for around £10 to £15, and gem uncirculated coin can reach £25 to £40, and a superb example could command £75 or more depending on collector demand. The value jumps because coins at that level are both visually appealing and relatively rare compared to their heavily circulated counterparts. One of the exciting aspects of collecting 1960 sixpence is the possibility of finding errors and varieties. While most coins were struck without issue, some error coins have been reported, such as off-center strikes, double die errors, weak strikes, and planchette. Flaws these minting mistakes can increase a coin's value dramatically. Even a small doubling in the lettering could increase its worth to £50 to £100, while a dramatic off-center strike could be valued even higher. For this reason, collectors often inspect their coins with magnification to ensure no small details have been overlooked. Beyond monetary value, the 1960 sixpence carries historical and cultural significance. It is part of the broader Elizabeth II pre-decimal coinage, which holds great nostalgic value for people who grew up in Britain before decimalization. These coins evoke memories of everyday life in the mid-20th century, shipping, bus fares, and pocket money. And for collectors today, they represent a tangible link to the post-war years when the UK was modernizing under a young queen. This emotional and cultural connection helps keep demand strong for sixpence coins, even when they are not particularly rare in terms of mintage. For collectors building a full sixpence date run or an Elizabeth II pre-decimal type set, the 1960 issue is an essential piece. It is not as scarce as earlier silver sixpence from the Victorian or Edwardian eras, but it fits neatly into a collection that traces the development of British coinage. For investors holding higher grade examples, particularly those with third-party grading, can prove rewarding over time, as the supply of mint condition coins is finite and likely to decrease as more are added to permanent collections. In conclusion, the 1960 United Kingdom sixpence coin is a wonderful collectible that bridges history, culture, and numismatics. While its base value in circulation may only be around face value or slightly above its real worth, lies in higher grade examples, error coins, and its role as a historical artifact from the early reign of Queen Elizabeth II. On the mint grading scale, values can range from less than £1 in worn grades to £75 or more in gem uncirculated condition. It may not contain silver, but it contains something far more important: history and collectability. So if you find one in your collection or pocket change box, do not overlook it. And as always, if you enjoyed this deep dive into numismatics, do not forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you will never miss our guides on rare and valuable coins from across the globe. Next up, let's start with the obverse design of the 1961 sixpence. It carries the first official portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, who had been on the throne for less than a decade. When this coin was struck, the portrait was created by Mary Gilly, and it shows a youthful queen facing right, wearing a laurel wreath, a classical and dignified look that was meant to symbolize peace and honor. Surrounding the portrait are the Latin words Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina, meaning Elizabeth II by the grace of God Queen. This is a portrait familiar to anyone who collects early Elizabethan coins, as it appeared on circulation pieces from 1953 through to the mid-1960s. Now let's move to the reverse design, which is one of the most beautiful and symbolic designs in British coinage. Created by heraldic artist William Gardner, it showcases a combination of the floral emblems of the four nations of the United Kingdom: the Tudor rose of England, the thistle of Scotland, the shamrock of Ireland, and the leek of Wales. Together, these symbols represent unity across the nations under the monarchy. Surrounding the central design is the denomination sixpence, the year of issue 1961, and the abbreviation FID Def, which stands for Fidelity, Defensor or Defender of the Faith, one of the monarch's official titles. This iconic reverse was standard on sixpences during the early reign of Elizabeth II, and it makes these coins instantly recognizable. From a technical perspective, the 1961 sixpence was struck in cupronickel, an alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This composition replaced sterling silver in 1947 when post-war Economic conditions made silver coinage unsustainable while earlier. Sixpence contained 50% or 92.5% silver. The 1961 coin has no precious metal content, which means its collector value comes from condition, rarity and demand rather than bullion content. The coin weighed around 2.83 grams and measured 19.41 millimeters in diameter, making it a small but durable coin that circulated widely in everyday life. Now let's talk about mintage and availability. Millions of 1961 sixpence coins were struck by the Royal Mint, meaning they are relatively easy to find in worn condition. However, it's important to remember that many of these coins were used heavily in circulation for over a decade before being withdrawn in 1971. That means most surviving examples are scratched, worn, and dull, while pristine, uncirculated coins are much scarcer for collectors building typesets or date runs of Elizabeth II sixpence. The 1961 issue is an essential addition, though it is not considered one of the rarest dates in the series. Here's where we apply the point mint grading scale to determine value. A heavily circulated 1961 sixpence in fine condition may only be worth 50 pence to £1, while a very fine example could bring around £1 to £2 in extremely fine condition. Value rises to about £3 to £4. Once we enter the about uncirculated range, values can climb to £5 to £8. In mint state, the coin's worth increases significantly and graded example might sell for £10 to £15, while in gem uncirculated coin can fetch £25 to £40. In superb condition, which is quite rare for this issue, collectors may pay £75 or more. The key takeaway here is that condition is the single biggest factor in determining this coin's value. But value is not just about condition. Error coins and varieties also play a major role. Some 1961 sixpence have been discovered with minting errors such as off-center strikes, misaligned dies, die cracks, and double die obverse or reverse details. While most 1961 coins are problem-free, those with errors can be worth many times more than standard examples. Even a small doubling on the letters could boost the value to £30 to £50, while a dramatic mistrike might sell for over £100. This is why careful examination with a magnifying glass or microscope is essential for any collector. The historical context of the 1961 sixpence also makes it interesting to collectors. This coin comes from the early years of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, a period when Britain was transitioning into a modern era. Following the hardships of World War II, the coin also belongs to the pre-decimal system, which means it is a reminder of the unique way British currency was structured before 1971 for older generations. The sixpence evokes memories of daily transactions, pocket money, and even wedding traditions where placing a sixpence in the bride's shoe was said to bring good luck. Collectors today often value the coin not just for its monetary worth, but for the nostalgia and cultural meaning it carries. For those building collections, the 1961 sixpence is part of a broader series of Elizabeth II sixpence that spanned from the 1950s through to the coin's eventual withdrawal. It is often collected as part of a complete date run, or as one coin in a typeset of British pre-decimal denominations. Investors should note that while lower grade coins are common, high-grade uncirculated examples are limited and demand is likely to grow over time. Coins certified by third-party grading services such as can command a premium, especially at the higher mint state levels. In conclusion, the 1961 United Kingdom sixpence is a coin that combines history, tradition, and collectability, while its base metal composition means it does not carry intrinsic silver value. Its role in British culture, its attractive floral reverse, and its place in the early reign of Queen Elizabeth II make it a desirable piece on the point mint grading scale. Values range from 50 pence in worn condition to £75 or more in gem mint state. Add in the possibility of rare error coins, and suddenly, this modest little coin becomes a potential treasure. So the next time you come across a 1961 sixpence, do not overlook it. May be more valuable than you think. And as always, if you enjoyed this in-depth guide, please like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you never miss our future videos on rare and valuable coins from around the world.